Hello. Hey, Sarah. How was your day? Just turn on the microphone. I cannot hear you.
Yes, it's good. It's been a good week for me, I guess.
Okay, it's been a good day. All right, so let's go ahead and start. I won't waste time, and we usually have kind of 15 minutes for a residency mock interview.
Mhm.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Sarah. My name is Dr. Tran. I'm one of the associate pro director here. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks
Okay,
for
how
having
did you find your place?
me. It's good. It's great.
Okay, did you have a good night?
Yeah. It's been good.
Okay. Now, I look at your CV and your board score, and obviously you did really well, and that's why you're here today. But I'd like to learn more about you. So why don't you tell me about yourself?
Okay. I'm born in Vietnam. Grow up there, but I went to medical school in Hungary.
Hmm.
And for the last few months, I did my clinical fellowship in the U.S. as part of my Hungarian internship year. And yeah, and my plan for the future is I want to obviously become a pediatrician, but I also want to pursue the fellowship in the uh, infectious disease.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's for now.
All right. So grew up from Vietnam and went to Hungary for medical school.
Mhm.
So what's the most challenging when you travel or transfer from one country to the different country? How would you adapt with that?
Yeah, I think the most difficult part is the language part.
Okay.
But they speak Hungarian, so it's a little bit different to like learn the language at the same time you're learning like medical information. So it's quite challenging, and the medical system is also quite different from Hungary to Vietnam.
Hmm.
So it need a bit getting used to. But I think if you just like immerse yourself in their culture, accept their way, then it becomes like more natural for you to practice in their environment.
So how would you adapt that? Obviously, you was born and raised in Vietnam, and you mentioned the most challenging thing probably was the language barrier. How did you adapt that, and how would you break yourself into the
Yeah,
Hungarian medical system?
yeah. So my school they have Hungarian classes for us for the first 3 years, so we have to learn Hungarian, especially medical Hungarian, to be able to communicate with our patients. But
Hmm.
like we also have a lot of help. We receive a lot of help from our like attending consultant. They help us like translate when we like don't have enough Hungarian to communicate, and they also like explain to us the way the system works there.
Hmm.
And then I think it's also like from yourself as well. So like I have to try to make Hungarian friend, and then like after a while, like when you go out with them, hang out with them, you get to know the country better, and then you get to know the people better as well. So it helps the transition easier.
I see. All right. So it seems like you did well, and you finished your medical school there. So why not stay there and continue your residency? Why you decide to come to the U.S.?
Yes, so my school allow us to go out for the last year to do like clinical rotation abroad, and like I chose to do it in the U.S. And honestly, I love the system, like the support that the doctor gets, especially for pediatrician, like the allied health, the support that you get from like other services is very great
Mm.
in the US. So I think that's the main, and the education part as well. Like I receive a lot of like feedback from my attending, from my residents to improve myself, and I found that I improved the most when I like doing rotation in the US. So that's why I decided like why not doing residency here.
I see. Interesting. Now, so why pediatrics? Why not internal medicine or surgery? Why you pick pediatrics?
So I think like I love kids. I feel like I communicate with them very well. Uh, and for some reason, they seem to like me as well. So it make the transition uh, from a student to a doctor easier. When you like your patient like you, it's easier to practice medicine. And also like I feel at home when I'm doing my pediatric rotation. Like I love the atmosphere in the like between the residents, between the attendings. I don't know, like I think it's the personality of pediatrician. They're more open, and so they welcome me a lot. So and I thrive during my rotation as well.
Mm, I see. Very nice. Now, so why are programs?
Yeah. So one of my friend did emergency medicine in your hospital, and he's told me that the hospital is very good with like education and training.
Mm,
So I look it up for your pediatric program, and I agree. So you have a very small program that is which I like, and it's community based, uh, which is very good to uh, like improve. I think like pediatric is more primary care now compared to like previously. So I think during my residency, community based is the best way to learn pediatric. So that's why I decided to come with this program.
I see. When I look at your CV, one thing that I saw you have a very clinical experience in the US, and it sounds like you have a really good letter from those two. Is there a case in the US that really, or even in Hungary, is there a case that you really remember and would like to share with me?
Yeah, so when I did my rotation, did my core rotation in the 2016, I met a patient in the clinic. He was 1 year old, and then he was taken away from his parent, his father, when he was like 2 months old, because of they thought that the father was like abusing and like neglecting the child. And it when we examined the case, we found out that it's not really that he neglecting them, but the child was born like small for age, but the for some reason the pediatrician at the hospital where he was born forget to note that into like his medical record. And after he moved to a new city, he moved to New York, and the pediatrician just looked at the current weight of him and said that, oh, he's underweight, so maybe like the father is neglecting him. So the father came to us, and then we helped to like uh, sort through all the growth chart, the like, paperwork, the medical record of him to prove that like he was born small, not like neglecting.
Mm,
So they get to reunite. So it's a really good case, and I learned a lot from that case because like the important role of a pediatrician, you cannot make mistake because like mistake can cause a lot of heartbreak for the family, not just the child but like the entire family as well.
I see. How would you compare and contrast between pediatric care in the US and in Vietnam?
I think the most like significant thing that I realized that in Vietnam we don't have a very good primary care and preventive care system for pediatric. Uh, in the US we have where child visit like every few months. In Vietnam you don't have that. Children only come to the clinic or to the hospital when they get sick, and I think that is not a good way to practice pediatric medicine because most of the disease in children, if you can recognize them early, they can get help from a lot of like other allied health or specialists, and we can like change the course of the disease significantly if we recognize them early. So I think like the primary care system have to be better in Vietnam, and that's what I plan to do. Like I want to get the best education here, and then like when like I'm confident with my experience, my specialty, that I can come back and share the experience with like my fellow doctors in Vietnam and for like somehow help to get the system a little bit better for the patients there.
All right. You have any question for me?
Oh, yeah. I saw that your program receive a lot of medical students from other medical school. So like I want to know like how involved I'm gonna be in the education of them because I love to like help other people as well like other medical students as well. So
Well, the residents play a pivotal role in teaching medical students here in our hospital. We are focused on patient care, but also focus on resident teaching. We believe resident is a teachers would be beneficial for both residents and students. Therefore, yes, you will have ample opportunity here for teaching. In fact, if you're really interested in teaching, some of the residents here, when they finish, they even move on to do a 1 year fellowship, become an academic pediatrician, focused solely on teaching. Um, and we do focus on that aspect in particular because we also would like to create an environment that for students, for the residents, and they can exchange and learning from each other. So don't worry, you will have a lot of opportunity to come here as a teacher.
oh, that's great to hear.
Any other questions?
And like, how's the support that I will receive from the faculty and other doctors and residents in your program?
100%. All of our faculty here dedicated to resident teaching and resident wellness. 100%. We here because we love teaching and our resident well-being would be our number one things. Now, when you mentioned about support, we also like to tell you that beside faculty, here are nurses, social worker, and other health professions. We really focus on supporting residents because we believe medicine is a team effort, and we would like you, as a future pediatrician, really like that, working as a team member from day one and move forward, and will make a significant impact as a team leader in the future.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Just one last thing about this, Dr. Sarah. How would you, when I look at that, your again the CV and your personal statement, um, obviously you have a really good letter of recommendations. So how would you say about your weaknesses? What is your consider really weak point? What's your weaknesses?
So before I start medical school, I used to be like a very like independent person. So I usually want to do everything by myself. And I think medical school helped me change that a lot because like I learned that like medicine is teamwork environment, so you have to work as a team to deliver good healthcare. So I think I changed a lot since then. I become more open. I know how to delegate my work and receive feedback, give feedback. But I think I still have some to improve on that. But I think that I already like get a long way since from when I began medical school.
I see. All right, Dr. Sarah Trin, it's my pleasure to see you today, and I wish you the very best in your residency application.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell me, how did you do, Sarah?
Uh, I think I did better than the previous mock interview that we had. Like I tried to maintain eye contact more, but it's a little bit confusing when I do like Zoom interview because I don't know where should I focus my eyes on. Is it on the like the monitor or my camera? So it's a little bit tricky, but I still say a lot. I think it's less than before, but I think it's still need to improve on that. Yeah.
You did a major improvement on the last interview. Now, you did one or two interview already, right? Or one?
I did one. Yeah.
How it went? How did you
Um.
apply to the interview skill to that section?
Yeah, I think it did. I did pretty well on that interview. I think they are very welcoming, so I don't really feel nervous. It's a major good thing for me because when I'm relaxed, I do better. And they ask very short question, and I think the interview is only like less than 10 minutes, so it's very quick. And my program director, she knows some Hungarian, so she started speaking in Hungarian with me. So it's a little bit like taken aback on that, but yeah, I can answer her back in Hungary. So I think it's went okay. But like overall, I think it's good.
I see. Now, when today and then the next couple interview, I like you to make sure that I think you did well this time, but I like you to think about before you start a conversation and try to avoid so.
Mhm.
This is a very common mistake of many Vietnamese doctors. Whenever we start a conversation, you start so it, it's not uncommon that if you can control it, when you start a conversation normally, like I do, the interviewer will realize that you control, you're not nervous.
Mhm.
When we're nervous, we subconsciously we say so and so and so, and that will make you a different interviewee compared to other interviewees. I liked your answer about your weakness versus your strength, but again, I mentioned last time when we mentioned about our weak point, we should show a solution. What did you do to make it do what you did? Another interesting point is when I start a conversation, ask you why you're moving from Vietnam to Hungary, and that tell me how adapted you are in terms to a new environment, which is the U.S. Actually, when I answer that question, if I were to ask that question, I'll bring that as a good example how I'm ready for change to the U.S. because that would be a really actually an excellent opportunity for you to say, hey, is it me? I'm come from Vietnam, go to a European country, completely strange environments. Look at me for the past 6 years, I did well, I finished medical school, I was able to do this. And that's how you say, I'm a fast learner and I like to learn new things. And I also like to socialize and I really like teamwork. And this, you said in the future, I see myself at facing no problems when I transition my medical training from Europe to the US because of those habits. And that will not only to focus the point that you, even though you was born in Vietnam, but you are European trained, you are Hungarian medical school graduate, and then you qualify to go to the US. That will stick to the interviewer mind when they finish your profile because your profile is very strong and make sure you emphasize that point. A lot of Vietnamese, Chinese, or even India doctor they graduate from their native country, but your case is very different. Your English level is very different, and those are really strong points you want to stick into the interviewer mind when they finish.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. What I like you to do is to continue to practice again, and I try not to say so. That's one goal, and stick with a slower pace and with silence, like I'm talking to you. You see, when we're talking like that, it's really emotional, but also persuasive. It let the interviewer see how calm you are, how ready you are to do the job. Okay. So let's keep doing this, and I will meet you again when we have more interview coming.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, Sarah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good luck with interview, and as again, I will send you a link to this YouTube video so you can review by yourself, and we go from there. Cool.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. You have a
Bye.
nice day. Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye.